What is a wage statement? It's the legal term for a pay stub. Wage statement cases and claims are common, and they're part of every single class action and PAGA case. And they kind of split into two groups. First of all, there are technical violations. There's just a list of things that your pay stubs or wage statements have to have. It's things like total hours worked, the employee's name, employee ID number, your corporate address, and things of that nature. And one would think that most of the big name payroll providers would know the law. But one of the things that we do when we start working with a client is we start with a wage statement audit. We look at the wage statements and see if they're technically in compliance with the rules. Because if it's wrong, it's a pretty easy fix, but the standard is perfection, because sometimes even something as silly as not having the right corporate address or missing a few digits of an employee's employee ID number can subject you to liability. It's a per violation, per employee, per wage statement, per pay period penalty, and it goes back 1 year in the state of California. But what's surprising to me is with alarming regularity, when we start doing these wage statement audits for our clients, almost all of them have some type of easily fixable wage statement issue that was not caught by their payroll provider, and it typically has to do with something called the total hours worked. When you look at your company's wage statements or pay stubs, there needs to be a field on it that explains every pay period the total hours worked. Fixing the technical violations on your wage statements is a relatively easy fix. If you're missing something, it's as simple as talking to your payroll provider and saying, we've got incorrect information and please correct it. You might have to fight a little bit with your payroll provider until you find somebody with enough authority to make the change. But rest assured, if you advocate for yourself enough, you will find somebody at your payroll provider who can make that change. And guess what? If you don't, you can switch and you can find a payroll provider who will get the law right for you. How would you know? The first thing you can do is you can look up Labor Code Section 226 and 246. There's an enumerated list of the types of categories of information that is required to be on a wage statement. The issue that can be sometimes an issue of debate with payroll providers is the field called total hours worked. Some payroll providers will argue that as long as there is a method by which you can add up regular hours and overtime hours together and do some simple math, then they don't need to add the field that specifically says total hours worked. That's absolutely wrong. Other than that, the list in the labor code sections are pretty easy to follow, and it's just a matter of making sure you have technical accuracy on your wage statements.